Welcome, everybody, to another Sober Life podcast. I'm your host, Scott Jones. You're here right in our Sober Life studios. And this show is always brought to you by One Brother, One Sister, nonprofit that brings trainings and education about addiction, trauma, and mental health to our first responders and veterans. And this is only done by your donations. So please go to onebrother1sister.com, make a donation so that we can continue to service our veterans and first responders. But for you guys watching Sober Life Podcast, thanks for being here. Make sure that you like the show, subscribe to the channel, and most definitely leave a comment and share it with your friends. Thanks for that. We've got Heather Palacios with us. Heather and I have done shows before, and we've known each other now. How long have we known each other? Maybe 5 years?
Almost.
Yeah, so almost 5 years. But we did some trainings with her, and then we found out about her mission and how amazing it is. And that's what we're going to talk about today. And you got a lot of new stuff going on too. Mm-hmm. But first of all, Heather, tell me about your organization itself. What have you built?
Okay. So during the pandemic, desperation is the mother of innovation. I don't know. Somebody said something like that.
Desperation is the mother of invention.
Or necessity is the mother of
necessity. That's it. Why do we put desperate in everything? Because we're sad, lonely people. No.
Because we're in recovery.
Everything is desperate.
Yeah. So that's when it became official. But prior to the pandemic, I had been doing this organically by myself for many, many years. And that is curating Lifeboxes for people going through a hard time. Because I just believe that one more suicide is one too many. And that's been my struggle for 42 years. And I'm still here. So, I've recognized that I've battled suicide every season of a person's life and have lived to tell about it. And so there's a lot of people that I empathize with when they're going through a hard time and could give up.
What are we talking about here with suicides? I don't have the numbers right here, but is this a crisis that we're in? Is there?
Yeah.
What are we looking at nationally here?
I'm not a numbers person. I sit in on all those brainiac advisory boards and I let them take care of the number stuff.
All good people.
Yeah, all good people. It's good that we have them. But I always walk away with, in the last year, it's a pandemic.
Yeah.
That is not a virus in the body, but a virus in humanity. And we're not talking about it,
It is. Here's one of the things that bothers me is that it's become commonplace as far as people aren't shocked anymore. And that's not good. It's not good. As a matter of fact, our children, the kids today, they'll run around, and if they have a bad day or something goes wrong, they'll text FML, which is frick my life.
Yeah.
Right. The other F word.
Right.
Frick my life. And it's like children are doing this. And so actually what we're almost like, we're not really holding life in the value that it should have. Correct. When we start seeing these things. Does that scare you?
Yeah. And that's why, at Wondherful, my organization, I don't turn down any opportunity to speak to anyone because suicide is very pervasive. It does not have a bias with gender, demographic, or age. It's everywhere all the time, all at once sometimes, And so I have an opportunity. If I have an opportunity to go talk to 6 children at a private preschool, and I'm not going to give them the gory details, but, I'll go talk to them. I'm not doing this for the attention, the influence, the pay, the glory. I just don't want people to die.
Right. So, this obviously is passionate for you.
Yeah.
When you said that you've been dealing with this, are you talking about personal or people around you?
Yeah, no, it's been my personal struggle since I was 8. And when I was 8 years old, I penned a letter, a suicide letter, and I mailed it to my grandma and grandpa. And that started this unexpected journey of that being my battle all my life. And Scott, to corroborate it, my mom recently found that letter and mailed it to me.
You have it now.
And so, when I go and talk, especially to students, I bring that letter. I don't read it, but I use it to corroborate the story, because I definitely don't want people thinking I'm just talking smack.
Right. Of course. And there's people that threaten suicide because they can't reach out, and they're hoping somebody will reach out. There's people that attempt suicide and they're on the fence whether they want to be saved or to die. And then there's people that are all the way into that position of wanting to die. Truth is, you just never know until it comes down to it. Right.
And I've lived in the shoes of all of those moments leading up to being declared dead.
Wow.
So from maybe I want to maybe just texting FML, to having a plan, to implementing that plan, to being found in the middle of a suicide, to being rushed to the ER and having my life saved. I've run the gamut with those last moments. But because I'm still here, I just keep talking about it. And it hasn't been without resistance.
Well, no, of course not. I mean, it's not a fun topic. It's not something that, hey, let's all get together and talk about suicide.
Right.
It's not, and I understand, because the same thing with mental health and trauma and addiction that we have with suicides really kind of could be the culmination of all those other things coming together too. And
to delineate suicide from all the other things is, we can do nothing for you now because you're dead. If you're addicted, if you're depressed, if you're schizophrenic, if you're traumatized by a dysfunctional childhood, if you've been raped, abused, all of those things, we can help you. But if you're dead because you killed yourself,
right,
we can't.
Yeah, and I guess there's a million different paths that lead to that ultimate sadness there. It's not like we could just identify one thing and fix one thing. But do you find some common denominators in what might be missing from people's lives when you're talking to people who are considering it and people who...
Yeah, I mean, I've seen, there's clinical research, and there's
I think I'm talking more about lifestyle.
But from my experience, from my outreach to these people for the last 24 years, that's a lot of years of walking alongside people that have been suicidal, is that it's so hodgepodge. It's so random and inconsistent. And yes, I'm very thankful for the clinical research that can come up with analysis and troubleshooting.
Sure.
But it does not explain it away. It does not give a full explanation to why we're all out here trying to take our lives. Because no two people are alike.
You're absolutely right. So it's kind of, I guess you can't really make a real common denominator there, because everybody's different. Some people, it could be a spiritual malady. Some people, it could be physical pain. There's so many things that can lead to that kind of decision.
I've seen them all. The Lifebox requests we get are only growing. We are getting every single day now Lifebox requests, and they come in through my inbox, and I read every single comment. Scott, in 3.5 years, we've done almost 17,000 Lifeboxes.
Wow.
That's a lot of reasons that I've read.
Well, let's talk about that, because what led you to the Lifebox? I mean, I want to show a couple of these, but I'll show everybody, this is the Lifebox. The standard Lifebox. Where in your head did you come up with, if I could send people something? Right. I mean, how did that come about? Talk me through that process.
I looked at the consistencies that I have had that have helped over the last 42 years in my plans of suicide, in my attempts of suicide, and in my fighting against me wanting to commit suicide or take my life by suicide. And I was like, what are the things that have helped me? And because I've lived almost a life span of battling this, and I'm still here. So I feel like I have some street cred.
Yeah. Okay. Absolutely.
What are the consistent things I've had? And those are the things that I said, I got to give these to people. And so I started to box those up, but then in addition to that, I recognize, okay, no two people are alike though. So what has been helpful for me might not be helpful for everybody. So I got to make sure that I put those consistencies in there that have helped me stay alive, but also all these extras I'm going to put in there are going to be curated to that individual.
Yes.
Because I want that person to get this life box and open it and be like, no way they thought of me, because this was not made on an assembly line at Amazon.
Right. You guys put this together by hand.
Yeah.
You talk to people, you find out what people want, you put it in there. I mean, sometimes I'm not oversimplifying it when I say there are times when suicide is a matter of 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
If I can be taking away from my thoughts or look at something or do something different for 5 minutes, you know, and I understand that's the same with addiction and relapses and things like that too. Mm-hmm. If I could just distract myself for 5 minutes, put myself into something else. Mm-hmm. That's true, right?
So true. And I know that, and you and me know that.
Yeah.
And whoever came up with the adage one day at a time, I really want to kick them in the throat, because I mean, not to be savage, but that's where my Chicago comes out, because I'm like, you know what though? That's not realistic if you're struggling with addiction or suicide. One day is too daunting.
Yeah.
One day can be deadly for me to think that I woke up at 7 and I have to make it in this day until I go to bed tonight. That's impossible. So I have taken that axiom back and done it my way. And my way is 1 hour at a time.
Right.
And I believe that if somebody has requested a life box for somebody and it shows up and they open it and there are things in there that they can do, play with, be distracted by, fidget with, read, write, well, I may have just bought them an hour. And you know what? That's a win.
Wow. That's absolutely true. And I work with a lot of people, and sometimes they're like, well, how am I going to get through this? How am I going to get through the day? I don't even think I'm going to make it another 5 minutes. Right. I want to use so bad, or I want to hurt myself.
Yes.
And I asked them, how many steps did you take today?
Mm-hmm.
Physical footsteps. Mm-hmm. And of course, they don't know. So we try to figure it out, unless they're lucky enough to be wearing a Fitbit or something. And then you can, which I think they should all be wearing Fitbits if you're struggling, because I want you to look down and see, I've already walked 4,000 steps
That's a win.
today.
That's a win.
Can I walk one more?
Mm-hmm.
Can I walk one more after that?
Mm-hmm.
It's like if you made it to this point, you can make it past this point. Where is that visible wall coming from where you say, I can't do anymore,
right.
But you made it all the way to here.
Right. And that's why
that's the breakthrough you got.
Yeah. And I don't have a Fitbit, but I have a clock. And the clock to me says, Heather, you cannot take it one day at a time today, but it's 7 a.m. Can you make it to 8?
Yeah.
And I can. And so I make it to 8 a.m. All right. Well, you know what, Scott? I just gave myself a freaking win. I'm a victor because I just made it from 7 to 8, and I could have killed myself in between 7 and 8, but I chose to live. And if I can make it from 7 to 8, I take that win, that joy, that victory that I earned, and I say, okay, now can you make it to 9 a.m.?
It's driving in the dark, darling. If I'm driving from New York to Florida and it's nighttime, I don't see Florida when I take off.
Right.
And the longer I keep looking for Florida, the sadder I become because it's so far away.
Right.
But I could see the 100 feet in front of my car, and that's all I got to worry about is that 100 feet. Mm-hmm. And same thing in life, and same thing with time or steps or anything. And taking a beat so you can get past it.
And people like you and me need to live that way, and help others know that it's okay to live that way if this is their struggle.
See, but what's cool now is that what used to save me, focusing on the next hour or the next afternoon or whatever it might be, has now become not trying to avoid struggle, but it's become being more mindful in my day.
Yeah.
Stop thinking about all that shit the next 12 hours.
Right.
What are you doing right now?
Yeah.
And so now, it has gone from the process that saved me to a process that allows me to appreciate my life more by focusing on what's right there and now.
Right. Yes. So the 1 hour at a time versus 1 day at a time idea for me has been literal life saving, but also life rewarding.
Exactly. Exactly. If you focus on what you have right now in front of you, it's harder to get depressed too, because most things that are depressing to us or that make us feel desperate are things that are out of reach that we can't have or that we feel we'll never have. But if we can focus on what we have in this moment, we realize, I got so much.
Yeah.
We all do.
The Bible's pretty clear and was pretty good when it said, don't worry about tomorrow. I think that's really stacked with some wisdom there.
It really is. I mean, and you've got to read between the nuances and the language and how they say it. But that's a true, it's actually stated.
People kill themselves because they're worrying about tomorrow, and people overdose because they're worrying about tomorrow. And I feel like the Bible gave us some really tried and true advice with those 4 words.
The Bible, philosophers, everybody says the same thing. You cannot ignore where you are right now. You've got to be who you are and where you are, and do it better. Do it better. Be kinder, be nicer, be kinder to yourself.
Yeah. And, I mean, and I'm not going to, come out here on this podcast with, rainbows in my eyes and unicorns coming out of my butt. Also, I mean, I am going to say,
although we do pay extra for that. So if you do that,
I mean, the next hour can be extremely struggling. It can be very taxing. It can be very difficult the next hour. Some days I can just look at it and take it on like a beast,
Yeah.
But sometimes the next hour is like barely making it to the next hour, but we can.
That's life.
We can.
That's
we
life
can do it.
too.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, I would rather look back on a day and remember all of the things that I went through than look back on a day and have all these blank spots because I skipped over the stuff that was, and whether it's mental health or suicidal issues or addictions or trauma, that's a big thing that we do, is that we kind of like get into this remote control. We don't enjoy anything.
Right.
And even if you give me $1 million and I'll sit there and I'll cry about it. I won't feel good about it.
Right.
So
right.
That's really tough. So you want to do something to help people.
Mm-hmm.
You decided we want to put these boxes together. I mean, was this you, or did you have a group of people, or did they jump on board once you told them what was going on? How did that come about?
I was doing it all along because people just know me as the suicide girl. Great.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. We'll get t-shirts coming.
My great legacy I'm leaving here. But because of that, I've been called to the scenes that the majority don't want to run to. I'm the fireman running into the burning building when everyone else is trying to run out. And, so being the person that people were reaching out to over the last 2 decades, I recognized that when I would go and visit them, my visit is so temporary. What can I leave that would be long lasting? Because I can't always be there for them. And so that's where the box came in, and curating it to them, including the things that have always helped me, along with the things that were curated specifically to them. It was during COVID where my friend Julie came over and she said, I could help you start like mass doing these out of your living room. Because Scott, I was overwhelmed with people reaching out during the pandemic. I mean, the world was fighting a viral pandemic. And in my dining room in Coral Springs, Florida, I felt like I was the only one fighting this suicidal pandemic.
Yeah, it's like the virus was isolation and the disease ended up being suicidal thoughts and thoughts of loneliness, and all those things were the result. It was horrible.
The isolation, what we failed to talk about in the media and on the news is, yes, the isolation and the shelter in place and the 6 feet apart were mandated, but we also needed to say, but these can also really afflict the mentally struggling.
We never thought about that.
We never addressed it. We never addressed
the psychological effect of walking around the store where everyone's wearing a mask. The psychological effect of that, we cannot read. I mean, once in a while you get somebody with very expressive eyes that you can tell what they're, but most people you could not read how they were looking at you.
They were dropping like flies with suicide.
Yeah. And it's just, so even if you got out around people, it wasn't the same kind of interactions you used to have.
You couldn't high five. You couldn't pat them on the back. You couldn't
tell if somebody was smiling or frowning.
Right.
And
I couldn't wipe the tears of people. I did a funeral on Zoom for a suicide of a mother. Her daughter was in the front row at the funeral home and everybody else was on Zoom. And I had to preside over this ridiculousness of trauma and pain, and yet couldn't hug the 8-year-old. So,
well, everybody says, listen, pandemic's gone. Everybody should be fine, right? No, we're still suffering the effects of that, whether it's in suicidal ideation, whether it's in mental health or in addiction.
Yeah.
All the things that blew up, they didn't automatically go small again.
Right.
There was a slight reduction right afterwards, but we're still like 20 to 30% higher in every category of suicide, addiction, and everything else than we were the year before the pandemic.
Right.
So we're not going back down to zero. I mean, we never were at zero, but so you've got a big mission in front of you.
Yeah. So we started responding to all the people reaching out to me for mental help by just shipping them a Lifebox out of my dining room. And my dining room was no longer a place of feast. It was a place of a suicide operation. And my family was like,
I was just going to ask, what was your family thinking when they're like, oh, she's going over the deep end?
Yeah. Well, first of all, they were thinking, who cares that it's the dining room because she sucks at cooking. So.
Oh, that was good.
Yeah. If I would have taken over the TV room, that would have been a point of contention.
Oh, no.
But it was like, dining room, we don't want her cooking anyway. So, but it took off, and we outgrew the dining room. I had to move to an office. And then last year we outgrew my office and had to move to a small warehouse.
Now, where are you getting funding for this, first of all?
Well,
I mean, I'm sure you were footing the bill a lot yourself.
I was.
And your husband and,
I was.
Just coming together.
Because I never charge. They're not only free to every single person that requests one, but we priority ship them. And I incur that cost because, Scott, time is of the essence.
Yeah, absolutely.
So these are priority shipped all over the country. And that's a cost I'm willing to take on myself because we need to get these to these people.
Yes, absolutely. And I just want to show, this is, here's a great shot of all the, the team and the boxes, and you've got the shipping, and you've got all of this stuff, and that started in your dining room.
Yeah.
And now you've got, how many people do you have helping you now?
Now I have a staff of like 4. I don't get paid because I just can't reconcile taking a paycheck at the expense of someone not getting a Lifebox. I still can't.
So, I understand. I DJ on weekends, so I don't have to take money from our nonprofit as well.
Yeah, I struggle with that.
Yeah.
But I do have a paid staff of about 3 or 4 right now. And we're swamped. And
you have volunteers come in and help too as well.
Yeah, it's not sustainable for 3 staff people anymore. So we depend heavily on volunteers, and I'm desperate for donations. Honestly, I am.
How can people donate?
So they can Venmo, PayPal, Wondherful at Wondherful, WONDHERFUL. Or they can go to website and click on donation.
That's what you want to do. It's the name is right there on the box.
Yeah.
WONDHERFUL. Wondherful.
Yep.
Wonderful. You go to wondherful.com. It's very simple.
Yep.
I looked at it. The site is easy to manage. You can see what's going on, and make a donation. Any size donation is needed, right?
Anything. I've had people, kids mail in a quarter, and that of course wrecks me because that quarter is life for someone.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything helps. Now, you started out with one box,
right?
I'm going to put this up here.
Show all them. Oh, yeah.
We go. My God, we've got suicide loss, grief, military experience, suicide attempt, trauma, addiction, anxiety, depression, loneliness, sickness.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is.
Yep. We've had to really expand it because all of those up there represent somebody I know that took their life because of that reason.
Well, there's a lot of similarities in the box, but then they go into those very specific things. Mm-hmm. Like when you're shipping something to the military. Now, the military is a relatively new one for you, isn't it?
No.
Oh, no.
Okay.
I've
always communicated to the team, we're going to be very, 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 did I say very accommodating to our veterans. Wow. I'm going to do everything I can do within my power to help compensate for what we have not done as a country.
That's excellent. Can we take a look inside one and just see some of the things we have going on
So
there?
this is a veteran life box, and it is chock full. We spare no expense for our veterans. Do you want me to go through some of the
Grab
things?
a couple things out of
All
there
right.
that you think are kind of...
The one thing I love is the red, white, and blue fidget keychain. This is a huge, people love this because it's tactile and it's gratifying and it's on your keychain. So you always have it. But when you are popping these, your mind is off your mind and it's on this.
Something that simple can make a change.
This is a huge hit. Then we have a pin that says hero, so they can put that anywhere they want, but they are heroes. Our veterans are heroes.
Absolutely.
Okay. And they're going to see that first thing when they open the box. Every veteran gets a wristband that says never give up. This was inspired by my youngest brother, who I lost a year and a half ago because he did give up. He had come to me one time and said he honestly felt like he would never be able to advance beyond his suicide and addiction issues because of all of his scars. So Chris had track scars from heroin and suicide attempt scars.
Wow.
Up and down his arms. And I just looked at him and I said, I'm a person of faith. And so I said, Chris, your scars can be your bitterness or your scars can be your witness. Because I said, I know in the Bible, whether you believe him or not, I know Jesus had scars.
Right.
I mean, he was stabbed and he was crucified. So he had scars, and he used those scars, the Bible teaches, to show doubting Thomas, it's really me. So I said, Chris, don't be ashamed of your scars. Use them to tell a story that you were lost and now you're found, that you wanted to give up, but you're still here.
That is so incredible. There's a lot of people out there that cover their scars and they have a lot of shame about them.
Yeah.
And each one of your scars is a story that must be told to somebody.
Yes.
It's somebody not just for you.
Right.
It's you experience that. And if you share that scar with somebody and the story of that scar, you might help somebody else.
Yes. They're your trophies of victory on your body.
That's right. It's a win.
It's a win. And so Chris and I just rebuked that. And I was like, I don't receive that. And I helped Chris turn that around and created the Never Give Up wristband that goes in every veteran life box.
That is excellent.
And then we put some candy in there and some mints, and we have brochures on PTSD, military PTSD. Listen, this is corny, but again, big honking easy puzzle book. You know why? Because when I'm doing a stupid word search, my mind's not on my mind.
Right.
And so we put the big old one in there. We put tissues because a lot of times when you're messed up, you're crying. We put dude wipes because a lot of times when you're messed up, you're dirty, you're sweating. Clean yourself up, man.
It's
a devotion by Rick Warren, who was considered, America's pastor for a long time. What on earth am I here for? A guy could read this in one dump on the throne.
Right.
Men like to spend their time on the potty.
Oh, yeah.
That's what this is for. Put this in the John. I want a veteran to read this. And by the time they're done with number 2, they're going to know why they're here and why they need to keep going.
Find out why you're number 1 while you're going number 2. All right. I love that. Another t-shirt for us.
Every single life box has a personal handwritten card from us. And this is huge because can you imagine the carpal tunnel we have writing 17,000 now handwritten cards? And
you print those by hand.
This is pen to paper.
Beautiful.
And the text is beautiful, Scott, because we've had some guys and some girls send us photos where they actually framed this.
Wow.
Framed it. So I know that that's important to people.
Well, and a lot of people, that connection to somebody else.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, somebody actually cares.
Right.
Could be huge.
Huge. A lot of us, a couple of the times that I've attempted suicide was because I felt like I had no one.
Yeah.
So I feel like that handwritten note, and they can tell because we have crappy handwriting and we smudge it all the time. I mean, I know it doesn't even look like we tried to do it professionally, but they know we do care about them specifically.
If it's perfectly written in perfect penmanship, it doesn't have the same emotion. as somebody who messes up an R or screws up a letter
Right.
or does something. I love that.
So and what's precious is that we sadly get a lot of life box requests for children, and had a school ask if they could write the You Matter personal cards. So that makes me cry. So that, the 6-year-old that attempted suicide that's getting a life box is going to open up that personal card, and it's going to be in the writing of a 6-year-old.
And it's going to be the thoughts of a 6-year-old.
Right.
So it's wow.
Yeah.
Now, this is, we made a lot of mentions towards towards Jesus and biblical stuff. And you don't have to be religious to receive these boxes.
No.
I mean, there is a lot of things that lean towards,
the only thing,
but it's,
here's
but you can interpret it how you want.
And I'm going to defend this right now, because there might be somebody who's misunderstanding this, and I don't want them to.
Okay.
I am a person of faith, but the life box is not a box of religion.
Okay.
Okay.
I wanted to get that out of the way.
Yeah,
I want people to know.
Because I don't want anybody to die by suicide. I don't want the straight, the gay, the black, the white, the Hindu, the Jew, the gringo, the Canadian. I don't want anybody to die by suicide.
Well, Canadians. I mean, no, I'm kidding.
I'm just kidding. So these are all just things that I have needed to stay alive. Now, that being said, the one caveat: every life box has a Bible. Okay. Now, it's not the life box recipients that have given me crap for that. It's been the naysayers who've never struggled with anything that have given me the crap for that. And you know what? And I'm not here to debate with people. That's not my lane. My lane is help people not commit suicide. So I'm not going to get into arguments.
Right.
But I am going to defend it this one time on your podcast and say this: do you not stay at hotels? Okay. If you stay at a hotel, guess what's in the drawer beside your bed?
Gideon's Bible.
A Bible. Okay. Rest my case.
But, here's the thing. Universally, if we took all the numbers, we could say probably anywhere from 35 to 45% of those people are going to go right to the Bible. And the others might, the others might go to the fidget thing,
which is fine.
The others might go to the puzzle book.
Right.
The others might. You just put all the options in there.
Right?
Right. And
the journal is huge. Every life box has a journal.
Yeah.
The journal's big because especially for men, first responders, veterans, they're not maybe comfortable with talking face to face with somebody, but I've encouraged them at least talk it out on a journal.
Yeah. Doing some free writing and just writing it out. When I say free writing, it's like you sit down, you don't have a thought about what you're going to write. You put your pen on paper and you just write what comes to mind. And it might be gibberish. And if there's enough gibberish, you could probably make a Nirvana song out of it. but there's a lot of things that make sense. And the stuff you write down today, we were just talking about that 8-year-old note. Mm-hmm. When you wrote a note at 8 years old or a suicide declaration or letter, to have that, whatever you're feeling at the moment, write that down and then go back and revisit that. Mm-hmm. It helps denote the change and it helps show you. Yeah. Wow, I was feeling like that. And I still made it. How great, right? Now every single life box has a journal. Okay, not just the veteran, but every single one, because I really believe in that. A lot of times we send life boxes to people or places where they don't have the resources that I have as an American in South Florida. They might not be able to get medication right away. They might not be able to afford one-on-one counseling with a psychologist who can do EMR with them. At the bare minimum, journaling can cover a multitude of those in the moment, because what I'm doing when I'm journaling is all the pain, the trauma, the guilt, the wrong that's in me. I am at least getting it out of me onto paper. Now it's the paper's problem for the moment. Wow.
The toxicity is out of me and now on paper. So every life box has a journal.
That is incredible. I love this. I love this. I love the fact that you're doing it. You said now over 17,000.
Almost 17,000.
Because I saw a picture of you on Facebook, and it must have been an old one because it said 10,000.
Yeah.
And so you're still rolling along.
Yeah.
You need help, please go to wondherful.com, and whatever you could donate would be great.
Yeah.
But where do you go next? I mean, somewhere in there, you've got to say, I want to do more. I want to, is there something you're looking towards that you would like to get more?
I'm not, I mean, I'm an odd duck. I wish I could say I have this really well composed business plan. Nope. I mean, honestly, Scott, I'll tell you what, I'm in business to go out of business.
I love the way that sounds.
I honestly hope that
you're not needed.
Right.
I hope that, yeah. And I do the same thing. I hope one day that we'll all figure out that putting alcohol and drugs in your body is not the solution.
Right.
And that I run out of things to do.
Right.
I would love that.
Right.
I would love that. I'll go wash cars. I don't care.
Right.
But I do it with a happy heart. But we know that that's not realistic. And that all we can do is keep trying.
Right.
It's the starfish on the beach.
Yes, I know. Yes.
I can help this one.
Yes, I know that story. I love that story.
Love that story. Love that story.
I mean, I've had a couple of big thinkers come to me and say, would you think about opening up Wondherful satellite locations, throughout the country where boxes could be curated there and even cut down more on that whole, shipping process. And we would be able to do them in different cities and towns. And I guess I'm open to that. The thing is, I just got to make sure they have the heart about it that I do.
I was just going to say that. That's all good. But if they're opening it as, hey, we're going to open this business here. No, you're opening another piece of your heart. They've got to have the same drive that you have.
Right.
And that your 3 or 4 people have that you work with.
Yeah.
Because if they don't have the drive to do this kind of work, they're going to get disappointed really fast.
Oh, yeah. Listen, it's not sexy.
It's painful sometimes.
It's
because sometimes we don't win.
I've had, so we had to on the Wondherful website. This happened 2 years into doing the Lifeboxes. They Sober Living Home reached out to me to let me know that someone I had sent a Lifebox to had ended up taking his life, and that had never happened. That was my first time where a Lifebox recipient died. And it wrecked me. I started to even question what I was doing. Yeah. And, I prayed about it. I talked to my husband and I was like, no, I got to stay in it. But what can I do for the ones that don't make it? So we created a memorial page on wondherful.com where we reach out to the loved one and ask, would we be able to honor and remember your loved one who we gave a Lifebox to? Mm. And we've had nobody turn us down. And unfortunately, we've had, we have about 10 of them now on the memorial page.
There's, we can only do what we can do.
Right.
Some things are out of our reach or grasp, but it's a lot better trying and failing than not trying at all.
Yeah.
And I have to, gotta,
and people like you and me this is a tough business that we're in. Not a lot of people are signing up for it or getting a degree in it at school. And, it's not rewarding. Yeah. But so the little casualties like that can really take you out. And I've had to look at it and say, okay, I haven't been able to help 10, but we've been able to help almost 17,000.
Exactly.
And I've got to keep that perspective.
And I think the same way. It's like, listen, if I have to do 100 interventions or 100 classes and I only save one out of those 100, it was worth doing. Yeah. Because that one person is somebody and they need that. And
that one person is irreplaceable.
It's somebody's mother, father, brother, sister, son, daughter, husband, or wife. It's somebody who counts.
And you can't go to Amazon and order another one. No. Humans are the only ones of themselves.
I tried to order a wife on Amazon. And I got in a lot of trouble for that. So don't do it. Don't do it.
But, as far as humans go, there's no backup in the box.
No, there's not. Now, I got to ask oh, shit. I forgot what I was just going to ask you.
Yeah, you got editing, so don't worry about it.
It just went. I'm not going to edit this. I'm just the way I am. It's just the way I am. We're imperfect, and we have imperfect ideas and everything. But here's the thing. People, I know where I was going now. People don't call up and say, I'm contemplating suicide, would you send me a box? Mm-hmm. Right. Who calls you and how does that process work and how do they do that? Right. How do they reach you?
It's very organic. it's the coworker who was talking to a coworker, and that coworker confessed, I'm really struggling. I don't know what's going on. I'm having a hard time. And then that coworker goes back to their office and goes to wondherful.com and requests a Lifebox for their coworker who's struggling and they check the box depression. And we make a curated Lifebox for that coworker going through depression.
It's that simple. Mm-hmm. Nobody has to pay anything.
No one pays anything. No one has to explain anything. We have the request page designed to give us as much detail as you want, because that helps us curate it even better.
Well, of course. Yeah.
But you could say nothing and we're going to still send something.
Yeah. I mean, if they love ponies and you got one of your sketchbooks has a pony on it, you give that, make sure you do that.
And I love that. I love when people will go to the request page and in the comment section say, my son loves Matchbox cars. Oh, you better believe we are getting
someone's going to find a Matchbox car.
You better believe it. You better believe
that. That is beautiful. Beautiful. But they request. Now, if I request for, let's say my girlfriend is struggling, and I want her to get some help, but I don't want my name on it. So they don't know who's sending it to them, do they?
No. They are every single Lifebox that is curated and shipped to the recipient. The from is Wondherful Incorporated.
Okay.
In the comments section, if someone says, could you please make sure that they know that this is from Aunt Suzanne, we will do that.
Okay. That's important though, because some people don't want to step in.
Right.
Because it's like, why'd you call them?
Right.
Why'd you do that?
But they want to do something.
Right. And this is something that is worth trying.
Yep. And it's free.
It's free. And
the other thing that goes in every Lifebox, non-negotiable, is of course the 988 card. The 988 card. Because the person that's opening this is going to be like, I don't know who sent this, but wow, this is so helpful. But I'm about ready to overdose. I'm about ready to slit my wrists. They're going to see the 988 crisis lifeline. I know I'm not with this recipient, and the person who sent it isn't with this recipient, but I know they can contact someone. We have set them up to get help.
And thank God they got the 988 up and running. I mean, for years it was you call 911, and you're talking to people who are not qualified to deal with mental health crisis.
They're equipped for medical emergencies of the body.
Yes,
not the mind.
or crime or something.
Right.
But
not
you
the
call
mind.
and say, listen, my son Billy he locked himself in a room. He says he's going to hurt himself.
Right.
And
right.
you want to talk to somebody who knows that. Or if somebody, like you said, themselves say, listen, I tried everything and I still feel like I'm falling apart. These guys know what they're doing.
They're 24/7.
Yeah.
They are trained. They are well versed in how to speak to a veteran, how to speak to a child, how to speak in Spanish.
And they know what services to bring to them. Yes.
So I don't feel helpless because I've had some feedback, well-intended feedback. Heather, shouldn't you be circling around to all these recipients and following up on them? No, because I would freaking die. I can't handle the bandwidth of everybody else, much less my own.
Yeah.
So I have to know that God's got this. I have sent this box. I've put everything in it that I can think of that has kept me going, and I've equipped them with 988 so that they can get help.
All of that kind of follow-up, while it might be awesome in some cases and terrible in some cases, it requires a great deal of man hours, which you don't have. Mm-mm. You need money, but more importantly, you need people and time. And that's just, you can't add more functions.
Right.
But the person who sent the box, pay attention to the person you sent the box to.
Right.
If you send it to a coworker, then
circle back
follow
around.
up, make sure the coworker's okay.
Right.
We need people. No organization, no matter how powerful or big they get, can replace people caring about people.
Fact.
And you're just starting the ball with this. You're saying, okay, here's something for them. Now it's up to the people who love him to step in, or her to step in and follow up. But if you don't have that, we've lost.
And as somebody that has struggled, with suicide, I'll also say the onus is on me. I'm also,
absolutely.
I'm also my great gatekeeper because I know how bad it is more than anybody else. And so I might be crazy. I might be bipolar. I might be addicted, but I have enough mind to know I need help.
Right.
And it's very easy because we all got phones and it's a 3-digit number.
It's very, very easy. You're absolutely right. I mean, there is no excuse. And we see this with alcoholism and addiction all the time, where they get a period of sobriety, then they go back out and they relapse. It's like, well, what did you do?
Right.
I mean, it's not anybody else's. God's not even going to do it for you unless you're going to do it for yourself.
Right.
So you've got to make decisions to do the healthy things. And if you choose to go back and pick it up, there's only one person to blame, is you.
Right.
Because there's so much help available out there. You guys do such great work. How's your life today? Are you living?
Okay, Barbara Walters.
No, I just want
you to make me cry.
Yes. How is your life today?
That's funny. Well, I have kidney stones currently.
Wow, we're getting right to it here.
So found that out yesterday. I've been walking around in so much pain, but we're gonna take care of it.
Not a fun thing.
No, kidney stones. It's worse for men, but for me, it's just a pain in the butt. So no, but
it's actually not quite in the butt. It's close. It's close.
Yeah, a little bit to the left. But that's a good question. I'm a wounded bird, man. Yesterday, Scott, I had to preside over 2 bereavement services for a college because the students showed up to their class last week and the door was locked. The lights were off. They couldn't get into their classroom, and it's because the professor took his life in the classroom. And so I had to bring grief life boxes to the AM class and the PM class. I mean, and then,
yeah.
So it wears on you. And I just have to be really careful to pour in what I pour out.
There are many starfish that'll be left on the beach.
Yeah.
We can only do so much.
Right.
And I thank God for all the work that you do. I thank God for you and your good humor, your good nature, your heart. Sometimes you see people and you're like, they are doing exactly what their purpose is on this earth. And I see it, and that's you. And you are doing that.
Thank you.
And that's,
Thank
but
you.
I'd like to get to know you a little bit more.
Okay.
This is a questionnaire.
Oh no.
That is
3 truths and a lie.
No, this was James Lipton from the Actors Studio used to ask these questions.
Oh my gosh.
Of his guests.
Yes.
And it helps us to get to know you a little bit.
Do people want to get to know me that are listening to this?
Why not?
All right.
Why not? We've shared a lot about your heart and everything else. It's just 10 questions. What's your favorite word?
Life.
What's your least favorite word?
Suicide.
Okay. What is it that turns you on creatively and spiritually? What is it that
a bloom of a flower. When I see a bloom.
Oh wow, that's great. Okay, what turns you off to everything? Is there anything out there that you just kind of keep away?
Mean people.
Mean people. Yeah.
I can't. Can't
Okay.
do it.
Okay.
I'm tired, y'all.
I would ask what your favorite curse word is, but I'm not sure you'd be comfortable telling us that.
I have one, and it comes from my favorite Will Ferrell movie, which is Elf, which I could recite the whole thing for you if you'd like. But my favorite curse word is son of a biscuit.
I like that.
And son of a nutcracker. Those are my favorites.
It was a funny movie.
Yeah.
Okay. What noise do you love to hear?
Laughter.
And what noise do you hate hearing?
Eyes rolling. It's very loud to me.
It is. Oh my goodness. It is loud.
Rolling your eyes is speaks very loudly to me, and I hate it.
All right. If you could do anything, I say, Heather, pick a profession and you get to do it or try it, what would it be? What would be any profession you just really love to try?
Oh. I want to be the person that needs to try on all of the shoes coming out of the bougie, crazily expensive, could never afford designers studios. I want to be the one that tries them on.
So you want to be a diesel fitter?
I don't know what the word is for that.
It's a diesel fitter.
Okay, yeah,
You
that.
put them on your feet and you say diesel fitter. Okay, never mind. I'm sorry. Dad joke. It was very bad.
That's what I want to do.
That was very bad. Okay. What profession would you never, ever want to do?
Oh, man. I would never want to be a bookkeeper.
Oh, okay. Yeah, numbers don't do it.
Or a prostitute.
That's sometimes they're the same thing.
Yeah, I just wouldn't be good at it.
Okay.
I wouldn't be good at that. I won't get into why.
Finally, if heaven exists,
it does.
What would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates? What would you like God to say to you?
I would really like him to hear him say that I know there were so many times you could have given up. Thank you for not.
I love that. Love that. See, now we got a little bit more information about you. That is awesome.
Yay!
Again, please, wondherful.com.
Yes.
That's WONDHERFUL. I'll put it right on the screen with the box there. Wondherful. So you got to do is wondherful.com. Please, please go on there. Find out about all these great boxes that they do for people who sometimes just need to know there's somebody out there that cares enough to send them a box.
Right.
With stuff in it.
Lots of good things.
It's good stuff.
Oh, you know which ones are I love doing is we do Christmas Lifeboxes all of December.
And that was for people who are
and it's more, I have to say it the right way. We do holiday boxes the entire month of December. We change the tissue paper, we change the color palette. Everything is and let me tell you why. It might be the only gift they get that season.
That's right. And sometimes they need to be reminded of the simplicity of things is actually where all the joy exists. Stop trying to go out there and buy FAO Schwartz toys for your kids.
Right.
And think about, getting them something that's meaningful.
Right.
One thing that has stuff. And reduce the stress of the holidays.
Oh, yeah. One thing that we do as a tradition at Wondherful in honor of Chris, my brother, is we partner up with about half a dozen halfway houses in Broward County. And we take a caravan of elves and we deliver Christmas recovery boxes to all of them.
Oh, that is so cool.
Yeah. I want them to have a gift. A lot of them are transplants from out of state trying to get sober, but they definitely aren't at the top of everybody's Christmas list. I want them to have a gift.
Ladies and gentlemen, Heather Palacios is the example of when you don't give up, how great you can become. And that's what you are. Thank you. I thank you for your time. And thanks for being on the show.
Dude, nobody ever has me back. I'm a one-hit wonder. I'm Milli Vanilli of the mental health world.
No,
you've had me back.
I want you back in the fall so we can do a Christmas show.
Oh yeah. I think we need to do live and let callers get a free Christmas life box sent to them.
I think we'll set up an event. That? We'll do it. We will do it. Right. I got some other ideas for you. We're gonna see if One Brother, One Sister can help out at Wondherful and give you some things that might be really good.
And I'm gonna have the final word. I'm commandeering this podcast, and I'm gonna say the things that Scott can't say. The guy doing this podcast could have given up as well. And I want you all to know that he chooses to live. He makes the hard choices to stay sober. And there's going to be an expansion in heaven of lives because of what he's doing. So I hope that you guys let him know that today.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. All right. For all of us here at One Brother, One Sister and Sober Life Studios, thanks for joining us. For my special guest, Heather, thank you for being here. Thank you for taking time to share with our viewers. And all of you don't forget See, if I say don't remember, maybe you'll remember. So it's reverse psychology. Don't remember to like this show and share it with your friends. And don't forget to leave a comment. We'll catch you next time. Bye-bye now.
Bye.